Hello, everyone. A very good evening, morning, and afternoon to all of you who have joined us today. It's a second workshop on a Friday, and thank you for joining us on a Friday evening, which is in India right now. Today's workshop is all about transition, and we all know how difficult it is, whether it is a career transition or even a transition to a new phone. Though Apple makes it a little simpler, but still, we know the challenge. It's about the workshop today is about transition to product design, and it is with someone we all can relate to. It's with Lakshya. Lakshya is a product designer. He's currently in the final year of his B.tech, which is engineering in India. He likes to call himself a creative yet strategic thinker with a passion for human behavior and psychology. He has also worked with leading banks like ICICI and Kotak Mahindra, which are some of the leading banks in India. He's also mentoring budding designers who are still starting in this field. He enjoys singing, playing guitar, and walking during his free time. So, Lakshay, why the wait? Let's start. The stage is all yours.
So thanks, Ashika, a lot for an amazing introduction. And I'm looking forward to it. And I also welcome you all on a Friday night, which is kind of a fun time. So if you are giving it to us, I hope that I'll be able to make it. Start by sharing my screen. Okay, so the topic of discussion today, as Rashika mentioned, is how to transition into product design. I would dig into it. Before, I would like to tell a bit about myself. I think Rashika already introduced me, but still. So I'm an engineer turned designer, or should I say engineer to be, because I'm in my final year of B.tech and I'll be graduating next year. So it has been an amazing journey from being in a B.tech and developing things, then turning to a designer and then designing those same things, right? And fortunately, I have managed to gather 2 years of experience in product design, which started with a startup called Kotak, where I joined as a UIUX designer. And I joined a design studio known as Ideal of Studio, where I worked with ICICI Bank and Kotak. Then I recently did an internship with Navi. So that was all about me, and I will just start with the workshop. So at first, I would like to mention that who is this workshop really for? Can you really benefit from this workshop? So if you are a professional who is thinking to transition into product design, who is making a transition, as the title suggested, then this workshop is really for you. And if you are a beginner in design, and maybe you are a little bit confused or you are overwhelmed with all the data and all the information out there, then also I have curated some really important steps for initial peoples in design that can really help you. So let's discuss all the topics that we are going to cover. First one is, we will see some professions that people usually transition into design from, and also some common skill sets that they bring with them. The second thing is what we're going to discuss is, before we jump into product design, we should consider some entry barriers first. Then after that, we will see what do we exactly mean by product design. Then after that, we will see, as a beginner, you know nothing about design and you are a total fresher to it. Then what are the steps that you can take to have a strong foundational knowledge in product design? Then after that, we are going to see that after skills, how can you expand your network of designers? How can you be around with more experienced and passionate designers around you? Then at last, we will see how can you showcase your work using case studies, and quick tips around how can you hunt for a job. And you all can drop your questions in Q&A section that you can see here, and I'll be answering that at the end of the session. So I'll just start with it. So the first one is top profession people transition into design from. So before I get into it, I have a question for you. Can you all guess and drop your guesses in the chat? How many percentage of junior designers are there who are from non-design backgrounds? Can you just drop some numbers? I want to see. 57. Okay, 50. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, cool. So, fun fact, about 60% of junior designers are from non-design backgrounds. Of course, it is the approximate term, but can you believe like more than half of the junior designers, the fresher designers, are from non-design backgrounds? So what does it tell us? That the background and the degree or the education that you have done doesn't matter when you come to product design or design in general, right? So likewise, there are different professions that people have transitioned into design from, and we are going to cover some of these professions, and we are going to see some of the common skill sets that they bring to the table when they transition into product design. The first one is graphic design. As you all might have mentioned, graphic design is also a field in design, and the best skills that they possess, the graphic designers possess, are visual design skills, because that is their work, right? They design for posters, they design, they visually explain and deliver messages. So their visual design skills is really good, which helps them in learning UI design better and faster than anyone else. Because in UI design also we are following the same visual design principles. The other skills that they possess is presentation skills, because they are presenting their work throughout their time. They are even getting clients by presenting their work. And after that, the other skills that they have are Photoshop and Illustrator, which are basically design tools, right? So what is fun about design tools is that if you know how to use one of them, then it gets easier to learn all of the other design tools. So even in product design, there are some design tools. So graphic designer will have an upper hand and they can learn faster these design tools. The second profession that I'm going to talk about is software engineering, IT, and web development. Basically, the technical field. I would consider myself in this category only, as I'm from B.tech. So the software people and the technical people, they possess some really important knowledge of the background of the product that is built upon, right? The coding, the languages, the tech stack, and that information uh, helps them as a designer, so that they can take some crucial decisions, and they just don't end up designing something that will go over tons of reviewing session and all, because they know that what they have designed is easily developable, just because of the background knowledge that they have. And apart from that, they also have knowledge of the product development life cycle, which is uh, the journey of a product ideas to design to developing it, then maybe afterwards testing it out with real users, and then basically updating features, etc. This whole journey is product development lifecycle, and developer people, they are well aware about it. So that gives them a really good advantage. Next profession is architecture and industrial design. Architecture and industrial designers, what they do is they design for physical spaces. Like in architecture, they design bridges, buildings, maybe college campuses, offices, right? They design those things. And industrial designers, they design products, a laptop, or maybe a earphone, right? Or maybe an air conditioner. It can be anything physical that they design. So the core principles of design that they follow through while designing those things is kind of similar when we design for digital spaces in product design. So the basic rule will be that everyone from any similar design fields like fashion design, industrial design, or architecture, they will have an upper hand, and they will be easily able to grasp the knowledge of product design when they transition. The next field that I'm going to talk about is marketing. Now, marketing and business people, they have some amazing soft skills that many product designers strive for. Some of them are communication skills, like they are very good at communicating their ideas, and they communicate through ads, or maybe they run various marketing campaigns, and they communicate with their target customers. And talking about target customers, they conduct research on those target customers. They see the analytics of them. They do A/B testing. They are they run the quantitative data, right? So that skill helps them when they start doing qualitative research as well, right? And the two most important skills that marketer people and business people have is the knowledge of users needs, uh, maybe in a bulk of a demographic, but they do know the users needs and the business goals. So these two things combined, they also have some upper hands in design. The last field that I'm going to talk about is psychology. Now, psychology is very interesting field because it is all about humans and the traits of humans, right? How we how we act, right? How we behave in social environment, or how we behave in a personal environment or different situations. So psychologists know so much about humans, us humans, that when they come into product design and when they design for users, for humans, they can put those decisions, design decisions based on their core understanding of humans. And the solution that they will come up with, uh, some other product designer might take some time and they research everything about it just to get at the same conclusion, right? But they will be getting there so slow, and they will take so much time. So even some product designer in future, they kind of enroll to some psychology courses to understand more and more about humans. All the psychologist people need to do is they need to learn some software and solve skills because they already have some human knowledge, right? So these were the sorry professions that so many people transition into design from. And your profession can be in one of them, or it can be some other. But the key is that whatever your profession is, you have to find common skill set. There must be some skill set that you can transfer from your profession to product design. So that is the key. And it makes your life really easier as a product designer. Now, the next section that we are going to talk about is we will be considering some entry barriers first. So what are entry barriers that we are going to talk about? So what happens is that as a product designer or as a designer, you should have some of the soft skills or some traits in you that will help you in your beginning times. Because if you lack those skills or those traits, then it might be quite difficult for you to continue further, right? So in this section we are going to see some questions that you can ask yourself, and just be aware of where you are at those skills. The first one is, how are you with people? How do you interact with them, right? If I give you two options, you can work with a group, or you can work alone on in isolation and just on a desk. So what would you choose? What are your preferences, right? You see, in product design, we are consistently designing and working by interacting and communicating with people throughout our day. It is not just a one time thing for a week or something. You need to interact with people every single day, right? And and if you are a kind of person who works alone better, or maybe who does not go so much good along with people, then you might need to brush up your people skills. You might need to go out of your comfort zone and just uh, ask for help, maybe help others. You have to be with people, because design is a field where you cannot just sit and work ideally, and you need to be around people and you need to talk to them. Second question, are you creative? So what do I mean by creativity? Creativity, in my words, I would say that your ability to think outside of the traditional way. You know the saying that think out of the box. So the box is the traditional way, and thinking out of it is what creativity means, right? So okay, so this is just a bookish definition, But how would you know your level of creativity? How would you know? You might need to ask yourself some questions like, okay, so how do I approach a problem? If I face any obstacle in a problem, how do I go around it, right? Because you might know that okay, this problem have this kind of solution, but if you followed that and you must face an obstacle and you cannot move further in that direction, so can you think of something else, or maybe you can think of some creative method to get around it, or try some new methods to generate some new ideas or new innovations. So that I would say is creativity. The next is, how is your communication skill? So when I said you need to continuously work around people, I also forgot to mention that you need to communicate with them as well. The better you communicate, the easier your life as product designer will be. I would share one of my personal experience. Like there have been times when, due to miscommunication and communication gaps, there have been disaster, and so much work has been delayed and extended just because of communication gaps with me. And I have learned from those mistakes. Uh, but uh, uh, but it is really crucial to communicate your ideas, your solutions with your team, with your stakeholders. There must be times when if you are presenting a solution, then various stakeholders, they are coming to you and with some objections or something. Then you need to use your communication skill to get around it, to kind of defend your solution, right? Then the fourth question and the last one is, how is your business knowledge? We don't really live in an ideal world where we there are no factors that can affect, just there are just you and your customers, and you are just buying and selling to each other, right? It does not work that way. In real world, there are competitors, there are government policies, there are government regulations, then there are external factors like market fluctuation. So all of these factors really affect the decisions of a business, and they hinders the business goals and their growth. So if you are a product designer and you are designing for your users, and you are designing to build your business and your product, then you should always be aware of all those things that can affect your designs or your solutions, right? uh, that's why getting to know all the business side of the company, business side of the your product, how it is growing, what are their goals, and how can you as a designer help them get achieve their goals. So all this knowledge is really important, uh, and it is something that even I didn't knew at first, but with time it got better and better. So I would rephrase that title of this section, which was, before you jump, consider these entry tickets first, because you might be good at some of the skills and you might need to brush up some other, right? So it is not that if you don't have these skills up top, then you cannot even get into it. Everyone learns throughout the process. No one can come totally prepared, right? So don't think of it that way. So you can even ask yourself better questions like, how can I be better with people? How can I be more creative? How can I communicate better? And how can I get more business knowledge? The better questions that you ask, and if you find solution to these, I'm sure that you will be more aware of your skill sets and the things that you need to learn. Now let's get to the main part of like getting understanding of the product design, and starting to understand what are the steps that we can take. So first we'll start with knowing what is product design. By definition, product design is the process that designers use to blend user needs, technology, and business goals to help brands make consistently successful products. So you see, there are three factors that you need to consider while designing as a product designer. The first is your end user, the end users whose problems you are trying to solve. The technology that you are using, the backbone of all the products that you are creating, that technology you need to consider, and the constraints. The third one is the business goals, all the sales goals and your yearly growth rate that you are targeting. Can you achieve that? How can you make adjustments, and how can you increase revenue and conversions? So you need to consider all those things while designing as a product design. There is another definition of product design by Interaction Design Foundation, which is combination of design thinking processes with product roadmap. As I mentioned earlier, product roadmap is the journey from the ideas to prototypes, design, then developing it, then deploying it to users, and then updating and making it better. This journey is product roadmap. And the 5 stages of design thinking process are empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Right. So the combination of the design process with product roadmap would result in designing as a product design. But still, there is a curious question that many people are still confused about, and many people have other opinions. So here is my take on it. Like, how is product design different from UI and UX? Let's understand first what is UI and what is UX. UI is user interface, the interface that you are interacting to, right? So I'm taking this session here. So you must have come here from after clicking on any buttons or some links or something, right? So those buttons and links and those elements are part of the user interface. You interacted with it, and in response, you got something out of it. So this was the user interface. And user experience. So in user experience design, we basically design for experiences, the experience that you had while using a product. It can be frustrating, maybe like the government apps that we use, like ICICI or maybe any other, or it can be very pleasing or even satisfying, like many social media platforms. So designing experience is user experience design. And designing a user interface is also a part of designing UX, and it is not different from each other. But in product design, we don't usually go by designing everything focused on user. There are multiple constraints that we need to consider, as I mentioned, the technology and business. So in short, UI and UX designer, they tend to focus on users, and product designer, they tend to focus on users along with technology and business. So for example, if I give both of them the same problem statement, they both might come up with different solutions, because UI UX designer is focusing on only on users, and they might ignore some technology constraints. But product designer is considering all these three things, so their solution can be entirely different. I hope you have understood what product design is. Now let's see some of the skill sets, initial skill sets that you should have in your arsenal to start in a product design, which you can learn throughout the process. It is not something like a prerequisite. It is just the skills that you will learn in product design. So it is visual design, which will teach you to design user interfaces, then user experience, user research, prototyping. Then there are some soft skills like communication and collaboration, teamwork, empathy, and creativity. So these are the skills that you should be aware of, that if you are learning or not, or where are you at each of these skill sets. Now let's in between, I would like to tell that you can drop questions in the Q&A section of the workshop, because I will be answering at the end of it. And there can be multiple doubts, and I'll try to touch as many as I can. So moving on to the next section, which is begin your journey in product design. In this section, we are going to cover some ways and methods that you can do in the initial stages of getting into product design. What are the actions that you can take? Here, till now, we were just looking at all the theoretical knowledge, but in this section, we will see what you can do to start in product design. The first and the most important is learn fundamentals. learn fundamentals of user interface, and learn user experience. And learning fundamentals is so important, which didn't think earlier, because nowadays I'm seeing like plethora of designers. They are just making noise in the design community instead of designing, and most of the designers are not they don't even know some fundamentals, and they don't even know the terms called design elements or design principles, etc. They are just calling themselves designer just because they learned some tools, right? So don't be that. Try to be better, and read the fundamentals and learn about it. You can learn the user interface fundamentals by starting with visual design skills and visual design fundamentals. When starting with user experience, you can learn about what exactly do we mean by user experience, and the different methods that we use to design experience, right, for a user while using digital products, or maybe any other products that you might be interested in. And I would like to share an example of bad fundamental. I'm sure you all must have seen this trend of which UI is better, and there people have other opinions. But in my opinion, this method of gathering data for your project or for anything is entirely useless, and this will not solve any problem, because suppose you are posting this UI, which UI is better, to some social media, and there are multiple people with multiple backgrounds who are not even the end users, and anyone who are anyone who is like just choosing one of them, they don't know the problem that you are solving. They don't know the flow of this app, like what are the screens before this screen and after this screen, and they don't know the users who are going to use these problems. They are just selecting it just because they found one maybe prettier or something. So this can be really wrong data that you can take in and continue your product. And this is what happens when you lack uh, design fundamental knowledges, because if you had the basic knowledge, you must have knew that you should never ask for design for design features from your end users only. What you can ask from them is the problems that they are facing, and you can ask these feedbacks from your managers or your peers, who can give even uh, insightful answers, right? So how can you get started and get a good grip on your fundamentals? So you can start with reading design books, consuming design contents. Then simultaneously, you can learn design tools, which are design software that you can learn. Then at last, I would suggest you to consider taking an online course. So first, I would start by recommending some of the books that I read in my initial times. One of them were Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman. Then Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug, and Hooked by Near AR. These all these books, there are multiple books as well that you might read and you can learn the basics from. But I'm suggesting these because I've read all of them, and they will form the form your understanding of user experience, and how can we design a product, how can we design digital experiences in a right way. So you can consider reading these books first. Then the next thing that you can do is consume design content. Basically, surround yourself with design knowledge and design everything that you might be working on. You can see some people's they share webinars, and they share some like office hours, right? So I would suggest some of the content that you can read from Whiteboard FM, from the future. I started watching the futures content when I was learning for visual design, so you can also check them out. Then growth.design is a really new website, and they are doing something really fun while presenting design case studies. They are using a comical way where two caricatures are kind of having a conversation, and they are explaining a design problem in a really interactive and fun way. So you can it don't even feels boring to just read and see their case studies. Then there are three YouTube channels that I would recommend, uh, that you can just consume, and these are some credible sources who are not giving out just false information and rubbish information. They are by Saptarshi Prakash, Ansh Mehra, and Figma's YouTube channel. So Figma's YouTube channel is the only channel that I think you might need to learn the Figma tool, right? Now you can read books and you can consume contents as much as you want, but designing is nothing about with nothing in theory. You have to create something. You have to design something. So there are some design tools that you need to learn. One of them is Figma, which is widely used like all around the world. They are using it for product design in all the companies and all the universities. Then after that, Adobe Creative Cloud. They have bunch of products ranging from designing to motion design to maybe filmmaking and even music design, right? But we are not going to use all of them. As product designer, we basically use Photoshop for some photo editing skills, then Illustrator, Adobe XD, then Adobe After Effects for animations and visual like visual motions. Then there is another software called Sketch. Now Sketch was a software which was used before Figma came up, and I don't have personally used Sketch, but you can check them out if you want to learn some other tools and you just want to check something out in a new software, right? So you can learn these tools first. Then, as I said, you should consider taking an online course, because you can. There are plethora of resources out there. Just as I mentioned, some YouTube channels, some books. You can learn bits and pieces from various places, but a structured course with end-to-end goals and talking about a specific skill, they will help you tremendously in getting your education very nice. So some of the platforms that are sharing design courses are ProApp itself. They are having some amazing content as UX courses, and they are all for free. And the other platforms are UX Academy, Udemy, Skillshare. But there are two courses that I would personally recommend because I have enrolled to them, and I learned through those instructors, and it has literally changed the way I looked into design and my processes and uh, my way of doing and practicing product design. The first one is offered by Coursera, which is Google UX Design Professional Certificate, which is offered by one and only Google. So you see, the best of the best designer in the industry who are working at Google, they will be teaching you about UX design and about product design. So how fascinating is that? Have you guys ever heard of this course before? Uh, can you just drop in the chat? Yes. Yeah. So uh, can you tell me if you guys have enrolled to some course yourself? You completed it. Okay. Hi. Nice. Nice. That's really good, Praveen, because I have not completed it yet, and I'm still in the process, and I hope that I do it soon. Yeah. Okay. So this was it's worth every penny. Yeah. Nice. I agree. Enroll. Cool. So this course really it is from really top instructors all around the world, and their certificates are also widely accepted in every company and all the industries out there who are hiring designers. Then the second course that I would like to talk about is design thinking, the ultimate guide. I think there is some issues with the image. I'm sorry for the blurry image. But the second course is Design Thinking, the Ultimate Guide. by Interaction Design Foundation. So this course, I would strongly recommend this course to all the beginners out there who are starting out in design, and they are just they don't have foundational knowledge. They are just reading and learning from multiple places, and they don't understand it properly. They should really enroll to this course called Design Thinking: The Ultimate Guide. They at the end of the course, you will be kind of equipped with equipped with some of the top methods and frameworks that people use for researching, for taking interviews, or maybe prototyping, testing out your designs. You will get multiple frameworks that you can use in your design processes, and even when you are doing a job. And the best thing about Interaction Design Foundation is their instructors are some of the really top titans of design field, including Don Norman himself, who is the father of user experience, the designation that we go to. And some of the professional senior designers, they also come back to Interaction Design Foundation to brush up their skills and learn the new content that they are posting. So this platform is really a credible platform that where you can learn bunch of things from intermediate to advanced. They have everything. So you have learned all the theories, and you have started learning some tools as well. So it will only help you out when you put all the knowledge to use. And how can you do it? You can do it by practicing it regularly and every single day. So how can you practice? Like, what will you do? How can you find find the things to design, right? So you can go out and just take some inspiration from anywhere else, and any problem, or just see some UIs, or you might have seen some problems in the apps that you use currently, right? You can try to solve those issues. So what you can do is just design something, design using the software and the knowledge that you have till now, and take feedback. Then just iterate it, make it better, then design again, feedback, iterate, design, feedback. Just go on to this loop until you think the work is done, and the design is presentable and usable. So the key is only here is that you should practice as much as you can, because every time you practice, like every month, you will see growing and learning even more and getting good at it. So you just don't sit idle and just learn stuff and do nothing about it. Put it to use and practice it. The best thing that you can do to practice is create a personal project. If you look around you, you must be able to find some problems that you are facing yourself, or you are seeing other people face. And if those problems are something that you can solve digitally by some digital products, then you can use your knowledge, the knowledge that you had from the courses or the books that you read, and apply all those knowledge to design a personal project, and solve that issue. And in the process, document everything, like from the initial stages, how did you do your research, then how did you come up with some screens or ideas, right? What about the references? Document everything and chunk it up to a case study. Now I'll be discussing more and more about case study in the upcoming sections, but this was it till now for this section. So these were the steps that you can follow in your initial times, that would definitely help you to have a strong foundation of design knowledge. At least it did for me. So I hope that it would really help you out too. Okay. The next section is that we are going to cover are how can you get connected to other designers. In simple words, how can you expand your network of designers? So the first thing that you can do is the most obvious one, join design communities. Before I talk about this, please drop in. Do you guys already have a community, or do you guys have already joined some communities? Can you drop their names? Yes, yes, I do. What are the best designer communities? I don't think I should label anything as best. all of them are doing just one purpose of what design community does, which we will be talking about. So I'm not seeing any names of the communities. Can you all drop one if you have joined? Nice, nice, nice. Okay, 10K designers. Okay, Unify, Zuri, Yukami. Okay, some of the names even I'm hearing for the first time. So I would just continue with the with explaining you like what a design community is, and some of you who has not heard of it or who has not joined it yet. So how can you join it, right? So a design community is nothing but a bunch of designers who come together and kind of they help each other out. That is the basic core purpose of a design community, right? In design community, you can find some designers who are more senior than you, some of the designers who are just starting out. So you can learn from the senior ones and you can teach the junior ones, right? So there is a sharing of knowledge. Then there are a bunch of things that you can do in a design community. You can take multiple projects. You can give feedback and help each other out. You can even start a personal project and go out of the design community and meet in person and all, right? So and I'll also be sharing some of the communities that has helped me increasing and expanding my network after some of the topics. So the next thing that you can do to expand your network is attend design meetups and conferences. So there are tons of conferences and meetups that you might have seen on LinkedIn that people are joining it, and many big designers are coming there. So I would like to share one of my personal experience. Recently, I also have attended one of the design meetups, and it was my first. And I was not expecting so much out of it. I was just thinking that yeah, okay, I will go and we'll meet some of the designers, and we'll get to talk each other, and that will be it. Yeah, but it was totally unexpected, and it was totally unexpected, and the things that I got out of that meetup was really amazing. Like at first, it started just as I expected. I was talking to some peoples and all. Then after that, some of the guest speakers came, who were the designer of some top-notch companies out there. They were from Fred, they were from Airtel and different companies. And the designers who I have looked up to also. And uh, here I was just just in front of them. I was talking to them, and it was an amazing experience. When just being around those people, it was kind of inspiring and kind of pushed me to learn more and more and just be uh, be so much knowledgeable that even I can be where they are, right? All those design titans are. So that experience was really amazing. And apart from that, yeah, I made bunch of friends and met so many other peoples and learned about them. And I told about them my about how I am doing and what I have done, right? So that was really fun. So you can attend one of those by just asking for some people who organize these things, or maybe some community admins and organizers who continuously take design meetups. So that was the second. The third thing that you can do to the third thing that you can do to expand your network of designers is join a design focused book club. Now, this is not a traditional way that so many people prefer for networking, but I myself has found this method really helping even more than design meetups and joining communities uh, because of two reasons. So the first one is basically what you are doing in a book club is you are reading books, you are reading design books, right? And if you are doing it alone, if you are reading it alone, then you might procrastinate it, you might delay it for later. But when you have a group and when you have people who are holding you accountable, then you will be forced to learn it and read it out, and that way you can expand your knowledge. You can read all the books that you thought of reading and never even started out, right? So you are increasing your learning, and you are getting more wiser with day. And the second big thing that happens is that you are, at the end of each week or maybe a couple of weeks, you are talking about that book to those people in the book club, right? And in that way you are sharing your opinions, your experiences. uh, some other people and all the other people in the book club, they are sharing their experiences and thought process and how they read this book and what how they related to it, right? You are kind of opening up to someone else. You are having conversation every single week about a book, right? So that way you are making even more meaningful bond than just sharing contact numbers, right? And I can bet that your the folks in your book club would be more willing to help you out and be genuinely there for you, instead of any other people who you have just met on a meetup or design for meetup. Those things are also important to do, but book club has been really impacting in my life because I have met some amazing people, and with them I have read some amazing books that I would never forget. So the communities that has helped me achieving all these three things. Some of the initial in the some of the initial time were, first was Design Sundays. Now Design Sunday has started by one of my own seniors, Rohan Mishra, and that way I joined that community, and through this community I have met amazing designers and people. And the first book club that I joined was also from Design Sundays, so it is a special one. Then one of you also mentioned 10K designers. I have not been in touch with their content and what they're doing, but recently I joined a design meetup of 10K designers, which was really amazing. And as I said, I made a bunch of friends, and I talked about myself and got to know so many awesome people. Then Adobe XD, what Adobe XD has is they have an online community on Discord and Slack, where they kind of post design challenges every week, and everyone in the community, they kind of take feedback from one another. They continuously solve those design challenges together, and it is really good to see the people from all around the world coming to one place and solving design problems, and you can meet many of us many diverse people there on those Discord channels. Then the fourth one is IXDF meetups. Interaction Design Foundation arranges some meetups on regional level and state level. I have not yet joined one of them, but I got an invitation, but I couldn't just be there. So I'm looking forward, and I'm definitely hoping that after joining, I would come out with many other awesome people in my contact list. Right. So that was all for networking. After forming a network, what your next target should be is how can you find a design mentor. So I will be sharing some of the tips about finding design mentors. So how can you find that who you choose to be your mentors, right? So before I start with it, can you all just share that if you all have mentors or not? Do you have design mentors or someone who you look up to who are helping you out in your design career or your design journey? ADP list is meant for best for mentors. Of course, they're all there are a bunch of mentors there. One of my seniors, nice. Okay, some friends from Discord, right? So as I said, like when you meet some other designers, you will me myself, my mentor. Yeah, how does that work? How do you mentor yourself? I'm curious. Okay, I look up on internet. Yeah, so I can say that looking up on internet, it will be kind of passive way of mentoring. But if you are facing a specific problem, right, the ones that are not mentioned anywhere else, so a mentor, one-on-one mentor, they can really help you out, right? Yeah, multiple disorder. What are you like? Moon Knight. Sorry for the reference, but yeah. I will continue with the ways how can you reach your mentor. So first, you can explore social media platforms and websites, and you can go to some of the top companies where you want to work, and you can choose some of the people from them, and you can target them as asking for mentoring you, right? And the second things, sorry, the second thing that you can do is search in your professional network, maybe a company that you worked on or you did an internship on, and there were some design leads or design people who can really help you out in the initial times of your journey, right? And if you know those people from your professional network, then it would be a cakewalk for you to ask them to be your mentor. But if you don't know them, if you are total strangers and you are going to ask them to be your mentor, then there are three things that you should consider. Some things that you should consider. The third one is after they mentor you. So yeah, two things. Research about them before reaching out. So there are two benefit that you get after researching about them before reaching out. The first one is you when you research about them, you should know that if they are the right person to even mentor you, right? For example, I am working in fintech domain, and if I'm reaching out to someone who is working, who has worked his entire life in the fashion domain or something else, then how can that person would be able to understand my problems and solve them, right? So if you research about them before reaching out, you will know who are the person who can help you out. And the second thing, you don't go empty handed. When you are reaching out to them, you can take some of the things that you read about them and make it the base of your conversation when you are initiating that conversation with them, right? And you can reach out to them, maybe by saying that, okay, so you have done that project or you have worked on that problem, and I am facing some similar issues that you have solved, so you might be able to help me. Just like that, right? You need to find a common ground. The second point that I would mention is don't be generic, write a personalized message. So what do I mean by don't be generic? You can don't be generic. You can just you cannot just go out there and ask, can you be my mentor? Because first, it is a really vague statement. Second, you are asking them that can you be my mentor and can you invest so much time in me? This statement sounds just like that you are asking someone for so much of their time, right? So avoid doing that. What you can do is write a personalized message by mentioning some of the specific problem that you are facing. Just like if you are in a project or if you are going for your fresher job, then you can ask them about what is the process or what should I remember, right? You can ask specific problems. And one more thing that you can mention is why that specific person is the person that you are choosing to be your mentor, right? Why not someone else? There are many people in the industry that can help you. Then why that specific person you are choosing? That will kind of let them know that you're not coming out of just you're not just random guy who is asking for mentorship. You are there for, you have done your research, and you are really asking genuinely to them. And then finally, when they kind of agree and they mentor you, then what you can do, you can keep them informed about your progress. uh, like they have advised you to do something, you can keep them in the loop as what they said, what you did, and what happened, and if there are any problems that you are facing, right? You can keep them in loop. You can have conversation with them. The worst thing that you can do with your mentor is that uh, they are advising you something and you are doing nothing about it, and then going with some more doubts, right? That will not only make them run away from you, but also you will also not be able to learn anything what they had to say, right? If you are following their advice, you are taking action, they will be even more interested in helping you out than anyone else who is just asking and asking stuff, right? So keep these points in mind when you are reaching out to a mentor. And any doubts that you have throughout the time, just keep dropping in Q&A section, and I'll be happy to answer that. Now we are coming to the last section of the session, which is showing your work using case studies and hunting for a job. So we will start with design case studies. So what are case studies? Can anybody answer me in one sentence or something? What do you mean by case study? Design case study. You can drop it in the chat. Anyone? What is case study? I will surely answer that, but I would like to just know, what do you know? Study of an existing design, full process of app or web start to end. Nice. Whole journey of the project. Yeah. Nice, nice. Anyone else? A detailed description of any project you have undertaken. Okay. Thanks, Rashika, for the answer. And design case study can be fictional story, real story related to design. Nice answer. Really, really insightful. And I would like to tell you my take on it. What is design case study? So, as some of you even mentioned, design case study are a documentation of the design process that you have followed to kind of come to a solution from a problem, right? You are starting a case study with just a vague problem that you have in hand, and at the end of the design case study, you have concluded it with a proper solution and a product that can solve that problem. So in the whole case study, it is the process, and your recruiters are going to see your case studies only to judge your skill sets and your thought process in working, in designing. How do you think, right? How do you solve the problem? How do you approach it? So you can go out and see how can you design a case study from any other sources. Even some courses will tell you how to design a case study. So I'm not going to discuss that how you design a case study, but I will be discussing some of the do's and don'ts of designing a case study. So let's start with the do's. Before starting, I would like to mention that you all must have seen, or you might see in the future when you go deep into it, that there are many templated version of design case studies out there, which is filling up every recruiter's desk, and even all the recruiters are even frustrated to by seeing all the same kind of different version of a same template of a case study that is not showing anything about the candidate, but it is just showing that template. So you might want to avoid that, avoid going in that zone and sending them another case study, a templated case study. So how can you do that? You can start by defining a structure to your case study. And in defining your structure, what you can do is, the key point is, maybe you can emphasize some of the skills that you are much better than any other skills. For example, maybe your researching skills are very really good, then you can emphasize more on the research skill in your case study. Or if you are a good UI designer, then you can showcase your UI design skills more in your case study. Then the second thing that you can do is show your individuality in your process, right? The recruiter is not reading your case study to know more about the problem or the solution. No, they are reading your case study to understand about you, your thought process, right? So telling them more and more about the problems and less about yourself is not the way to go. You should add more your element. What is unique about your process? How did you thought of this problem, right? What is your approach which is different from others? You can add your individuality in the process. The third one is, you can work on the visual experience. So what happens is that a recruiter might have bunch of case study on their desk, and they give just a quick scan of your case study. Then they go deep into it and they read out your content. So if you have a visual experience for your case study, and the first scan kind of attracts them, and they are attracted to know more and more about your content and your process and basically your case study, then that will be a plus point than a case study who is just boring and just text and picture. It is like just the generic ones, right? You can do something different with visual experience. Come on, you are a designer, right? You must have learned something to be aesthetic with your approach, so you can do that. The fourth thing that you can do is talk about the things that didn't go well. There must have been some issues or problems that you must have faced throughout the process, that you can mention. And don't forget to mention how did you come around those problems. If you face those, what were the things that you did that you kind of solved that issue, or what were the alternatives that you chose apart from those problems, right? You can mention those, so that will kind of tell the recruiter that okay, even if you face some problems, you have the ability to come around it. The fifth point is highlight what you have learned in the process. You can learn anything when you are designing something, some design case study. You might have designed for some new industry. You are in food industry, but you have designed for maybe fashion industry. Then you have learned something. You can mention those. Or maybe you have learned some specific process for the first time. Maybe you have learned a process of research, a new process of researching. So you can mention that, right? So it kind of shows that you are consistently trying new things, and you're not afraid to change your process of design. So these were the things that you should do. Then let's see what are the things that you should avoid doing. The first one is, which I have said multiple of times already, don't follow a case study templates blindly. You will be tempted to it because it does not require too much of thinking. You know that you have five things to do and you are just doing it one by one, and yeah, you are done with the case study. But that will just add you on the long herd of people who are doing the same thing. How are you unique? Yeah, how do you stand out from the crowd, right? So don't do that. Second thing, don't attempt any design process just for the sake of it. Because if you see, like, the design processes and the methods and the frameworks that you have is kind of like a toolbox, right? For example, if your refrigerator is broken, you don't go to the toolbox and use all the tools and all the utensils you have to fix that one specific problem, right? You know the specific tools that would help, like fixing that fridge. That same goes with designing a problem or designing a solution or designing a product. You know you have tens and 20 methods or frameworks, but your process might require only 5 or 7 of them. So why would you unnecessarily use all of those design process just to add up in the case study, but which doesn't really add value, right? So avoid doing that, and that will be one of the process which will help you avoid these case study templates, because in the templates what they do is they just go and follow all the process that they can. The last thing that is a tiny quick tip, which is don't add too much text. Your recruiter is not going to read. So as I have mentioned, your recruiter is kind of going to scan your case study, and then if they found it appealing, they will be more interested in reading it out. So if you are adding too much text, you are adding paragraphs of text, and you are explaining something, then they might consider someone else's case study, which is more visual or more minimal in their approach, and they are explaining it better than you. Then in this way, you might lose a chance or might lose a job, right? So avoid doing these things. Now let's see the some quick tips on how to find for a job or you hunt for a job. So the first one is the most obvious one. Get your resume, LinkedIn, and portfolio ready to go. And your portfolio kind of contains the case study that you have, along with you can share some of the extra skills that you might have in a process. Then the second thing that you can do is just don't aimlessly go and apply on every company's portal and every openings, right? Have a aim, have a goal that yeah, you want to work at some of these companies. So what you can do is just curate a list of companies that where you want to work, and reach out to the relevant people there, maybe the design leads or maybe the managers or the HR people. You can just make a dashboard of their data, so that when you are reaching out and when you are applying for a job, you will have a data to start out with. And when you reach out to them, don't just go start telling something. Uh, Try learning cold mailing skills or cold messaging skills, which is nothing but pitching yourself to get conversion, which in this case is you getting like convincing them to apply, consider your application, your design application for jobs basically. So learn cold mailing skills, which will not only help you in these initial times, but also help you anytime you are pitching something. Maybe in future you are going to have some your personal projects, so you have to cold mail a lot, right? So that will really help. Then you can get insight about the hiring process from your mentors. Now here is the time when your design network and your mentor will come as really useful. You can ask everything about a design process or a hiring process from them, and all the pitfalls and the things that you might be prepared might be prepared before going in the interview. Now the last thing is start applying and giving interviews. Don't just prepare and do something, but that is the motto of giving and setting for interviews. The more rejection that you face, the more you will know of your weaknesses, and you can make work out and make it better, right? So don't be demotivated by the rejections that you get. It is kind of demotivating, but try to fight it, and just take it as feedback and improve yourself every after every interview. So follow these steps while hunting for a job. Before ending the session, I would like to share the similar journey that I have had in my experience. So, in the first semester or second semester of my college, I started with front end development, which is basically web development. And I was doing it because all my friends were doing it, or I was surrounded with developer friends and were seniors. So, that was the first thing that came to my mind and started with it. But after some time, I kind of lost interest, and that was the time when I was exposed to design, visual design, logo design by one of my seniors, and and I knew that eventually I might have to do coding, but so why don't just give designing a try? So I was not hoping to get fully into it in the initial times, but when I started logo design and graphic design, uh, it kind of felt like it is coming naturally to me, and there were times then that I was doing blunders with design in the initial phases, but uh, with time it got better and better, and I was designing graphics for my college communities and poster events, etc. Then after and then after some time, I got into a startup called Poetistic, where I was officially as a UIUX designer, and for the first time, I was working as a for products and for UIs and making screens. Right, that was the initial time. And recently, I have joined some startup uh, as a product design intern. So this is my official entry as a product designer, I would say. And so all the steps in the journey kind of formed the way I am today. Like when I was doing graphic design, uh, I got my visual design skills really sharp, and that helped me to even today to make some really minute decisions and detailed decision in UI design. So that was a really fun ride that I had, and yeah. So For concluding, I would I'd like to tell that everything that I mentioned was just a tip of everything, and nothing, no topic was discussed with thorough detail, because it was just a nudge for you to search and learn more. I kind of focused on giving you a roadmap instead of going too deep in a topic, so that you can in your own way learn and explore more and more about those things, and you can have a great transition from your field to product design if you are one of them. So here are the quick takeaways. Then I will be taking some of your questions. So whatever your profession is, you need to find common skill sets. Ask yourself, how can you improve some entry level skills that you are missing? Then what is product design? Product design takes users, technology, and business in consideration while designing. Then you can make a strong foundation of design knowledge by taking taking resources from some credible areas, and not just taking all the noises out there. Then you can get better at designing by practicing regularly and every day, and just keep brushing up your skills, and it will get better with time. You can expand your design network by joining communities, book clubs, and attending meetups and conferences. You can reach your mentor with right intention, and remember to take action on their advice. And at last, design your case study with your story and individuality. Don't follow templates. So that was all for my side. And thanks a lot, every one of you, to give out your precious time in a Friday night. So yeah, thanks a lot for that. And I'll be taking your question in a minute. Should I stop sharing my screen?
I think before we start, I am just very curious to know how at such a young age you were able to gain so much of knowledge and information about everything. Because you answered each and everything which we have been accounting or being asked from past 40 sessions.
Okay.
So like the design communities, the books, because everyone come, they they talk about, okay, about UX design, about research,
Yeah, yeah.
about product design, but nobody really drew that particular roadmap. You being in the same boat, I believe, was able to actually relate and tell your story, and they were able to relate to you as well. So
Yeah.
but how did you manage to do it?
Like I didn't do anything different than exactly my journey, because I just pondered upon what were the things that I did, and adding to that, I also view some of the my seniors experiences, because I am from B.tech, so my seniors are also from B.tech, so they
I
also
am
have
also from B.tech.
okay, you are also from B.tech. Okay, yeah, so the journey is kind of goes in a similar way about how a technical guy comes into designing. So
Right.
I did nothing, but I kind of ponder upon my own experiences as what I have done and what really helped me, and I just try to chunk it up in just one go, and that's why I was not able to just deep dive in anything. So I thought, why couldn't I just give a overall roadmap, and that people can just benefit from? And it is just a suggestion, and it will be nothing like you can just you it is just a soul truth, right? You all are flexible in your own way, and you can just go and find your own way that you want to do, right?
Right. You can just show us the path, pick up the chunks you like, and then
Yeah, yeah.
find your own way. Cool. I think we'll take up some questions. Okay. The first one is from Tamjeet. Curious to know about. I'm also pursuing B.tech CSC and working as a lead UI UX designer, having less than about 2 years of experience. Will it be too early for me to switch to product design?
No, I don't think it would be too earlier, uh, as UI UX designer and product designer is not so much of big difference, because you just have to consider some of the factors more than you are what you are doing right now. Just you have to know some business knowledge, you have to know some business goals, and how can you like add those knowledge while you are designing in your solutions. So I don't think UI designer and product design is so much different when you don't have to think about transitioning from it. It is less like just you just have to learn a couple of more skills for it.
Understanding the business goals better so that your actions are then
Yeah, yeah,
aligned to them.
right, right.
Okay, this I think you already answered. Some design communities and where can I find these meetups?
Yeah, meetups are like you can first just get connected to the different communities and the people that you have seen joining communities. You can ask them like when are they going on the next meetup, or how did they find the last meetup that they went to, and you can just follow the
Right.
same steps. You need to just explore something and ask people and ask for help. Like you cannot do everything on your own, so it's better to ask someone from help.
Cool. Okay. We started by understanding the difference between UI design and product design. However, it felt like the topics of the session covered UI design more and to less about product design. Is UI and product design the same in some way?
Let me just understand that once again. I'm reading it up. After the cover- No, I don't think I mentioned too much of the UI design because UI design will be all about the Figma, learning Figma, and maybe the softwares and the tools and all the fancy effects and the trends that are going on. But more of what I discussed today was about all the like all the roadmap and all the journey of a product designer. If even if this session was not about transitioning, most of the session was about how can you start in product design, right?
Right.
So most of the topics that I think I didn't even like justice more the UI design because I didn't discuss more about it, and most of the
Right. Right.
topics that I discussed was about everything else about it because
I
everyone is talking about UI.
I think the main question the anonymous attendee wanted to ask was, is UI and product design the same in some way? That's what he's trying to understand.
Yeah, it not a same way. Like you can visualize it as product designing being a
Umbrella.
river. And, yeah,
Hmm.
umbrella maybe. I would like to use the analogy of being a river and UI design being a bucket of water, right? Product design is big
Right.
and UI design is a part of it, and without it, it is not a product design. So yeah, they both are kind of living on each other.
Cool. I think we are not gonna have much questions today because all the questions, there were some common questions which I personally received in most of the workshops. How should I build a design case study? Okay, I am from this particular background. Can I start in design? How should I reach out to someone? You
Yeah,
pointed out each and everything, all the nooks and crooks, and I believe their questions has been answered by this workshop today.
yeah. I hope that I was able to uh, answer them, and yeah, uh, and it's glad to hear that most of the questions was answered. Like I myself have met so many people in my engineering college as well who are starting in design, and they ask some of these questions. So I even try to like I will bring them along in this session, and I don't have to go and sit with them and talk about it. You can all just see it at one place because I have prepared something, and you can just look it out and take help from it.
Right. Cool. I think, Lakshay, that was a very great session.
Right.
I really loved it, and I know the audience loved it too. Okay, there's one question we're gonna take it.
Yeah.
UX design is about users. Product design is about success of a product in long term. How to incorporate business information to design?
How to incorporate business to info to design? Yeah, right. Okay, so like what are business information? You are learning about some factors. First of all, you are understanding the business. How does the business
Right.
work? You are not just having a problem. Okay, so that you have to create a chat. Maybe it is a problem, but you have to understand like if people are not working on this chat or not interacting with this chat, what can be the consequences, or if they interact with the chat, what can be the benefit that can happen in a business way, or in a financial way, I would say. Like, are they more interacting more with the website or the product, or are they converting more, or if they are talking with that chat box or that help box, uh, is there more tendency for them to purchase something from us, right? So
Right.
those decisions matter, that if your product design decision is making more value to the business side of the company, to generate more revenues, to generate more leads, more sales, maybe more registrations, and more people are logging in, right? So
Right.
how can you incorporate, like, it is subjective to the problem itself. I cannot give a proper statement, and I'm still at a learning phase in this, because I have recently been in product design, and I'm also learning about more and more about business. But yeah, I hope that I answered that question in a little way.
I think I have one live example to give from the app itself. So I think 1 or 2, 3 months back, we launched design challenges in ProApp,
Yeah, yeah,
and the challenges were completely free. What we did was to make it quick, and so that we are able to roll out the feature, faster. The
yeah.
challenges were on the app, but people were supposed to, the designers were supposed to submit it on the Slack channel, right?
Okay.
And that was a very conscious decision we took, so that in limited amount of time we are able to provide them with challenges submission. Maybe they can even send it to us, or it's a community where people can
Discuss
respond
about
to each
it.
other, review about it. But
Yeah, nice.
it was one entire month, and we were checking the analytics. We were like, okay, people were clicking on it, but nobody enrolled in the as in there
Okay.
was no submission, nobody enrolled in
On
it,
Slack, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right. So what we figured out that this thing, the link that was added to that particular uh, you know uh, to that particular banner which was
yeah.
there, or where you were asked to submit to the Slack, that was of Slack said that you can add a link to directly the channel, but you cannot access the channel before you have joined the Slack. So
Okay.
between that disconnect, and that was a
The
business
people
failure
must
on
be
our end.
dropping off. Yeah, yeah.
Right, and that was a business error or a business loss on our end, right? Though we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
not gaining, but at least we were losing our users. That okay, we launched this new features, we put every effort we had, but
Yeah,
still the users were not coming. So like that is the business info you keep, and the decisions, or I believe the business conscience you have when you design for a product.
yeah, right, right.
And that's where it is different from just UI designing or just UX designing.
Exactly. Like, it is something that I've also exposed to in recent times, and now you cannot imagine it in any way else, right? Because earlier
Right.
I used to think that you have a problem and you know your users and you can design stuff, but that will not drive sales. You might design something which is so easy or so free that your business is going into you're not making profits and you're going to loss, right? So you
Right.
need to consider all those things, because no one you need to make money to grow, right? You cannot just do everything for free, or just provide everything for free. Yeah. So those things you need to consider while designing for businesses.
Right. And especially the time and effort you're gonna put to design that. And someone who will freelance will understand this, like who has started their career in freelancing, they'll
Yeah,
know how much, the time matters to the person, because the delivery dates are like, they're very critical about the delivery dates. So I think, Lakshya, it was a great session. I loved it. And
Thanks a lot.
thank you so much
And thank you
for
everyone else
joining.
who also joined, and I hope you all will get something out of it. And I forgot to mention, if you must have taken notes of it in the beginning. So if you remember something, just note it down right now so that you can keep it uh, keep it in your mind for a long time.
We'll post this recording on a YouTube channel.
Okay,
As in, I'll share it with you and with them as well.
okay, then no problem.
Cool. Thank you for doing this with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks a
Have
lot.
a
Thank you.
great rest of the weekend.
Yeah, yeah,
Bye
you too.
bye.
I hope everyone have a great weekend. Bye.
Sure. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.